So you made it, you donated your kidney, you're in the hospital, waking up from the surgery. Now it's time to recover. You'll be there for about 2 or 3 days. You're a bit groggy, trying to figure out what's going on. I remember the nurse handing me a button and telling me to press it if I'm in too much pain, but not to press it more than so many minutes. So I remember trying not to press it if I didn't have to. I can't remember if somebody put it on me, but I remember having this free wristband on, which I've kept on to this day, as a reminder for that experience, and maybe something like that might be meaningful to you too. So that first day, you're trying to just relax, manage pain, and hydrate. There were really any visits much. It was just trying to relax. I did get informed that my sister was doing great, that the kidney took immediately, and she's doing phenomenal. Of course, I got that wonderful news. Became teary-eyed just hearing that. This is all worth it. It worked out. Another thing is you're given lots of liquids. So you have a tray in front of you with a huge container of ice water with a big straw. Then there's a bunch of surgery drinks. There's super surgery Kool-Aid, Gatorade, apple juice, and then there's protein shake, Jell-O. I wasn't able to lift up at all. You have no ab muscles. They cut through them. And so they go off from the joint. You really need somebody to help bring the drinks to you or try to reach over. It's even hard to reach over early on. So your care person should be helping bring the drinks to you. You have what's called a binder on. It's this big wrap that wraps around your entire ab area, your torso, and it's tightened and has a Velcro just kind of keep things together where they made those incisions. I remember them taking out the catheter at the end of that day and being told that if I wasn't able to produce enough urine, that they'd have to insert it, which of course was not fun news. They're really just trying to relax, manage pain, and hydrate. Unfortunately, my care person really wasn't there much. I don't think he quite understood the assignment. Both days he left pretty early in the evening. He didn't come back till later in the afternoon. So my brother-in-law really was helping come to the room and making sure I was able to drink or bring the drinks to me or Jell-O or whatever it was. And even through the night, he was coming and checking on me. He really was supposed to be caring for my sister, of course. I found out, fortunately, she was just recovering just next door. So that was kind of cool. She did come in and visit me that first day. She was up and walking around. I was explained by a nurse who was a mom friend of mine before the surgery, just asking her about some insights. I was told, oh yeah, your recovery will be much more difficult than hers for this early stages because she's being given something that's helping her and really they're taking something from you. You're sustaining an injury where she's being helped. So don't be surprised if she's up and walking around and you're still struggling to get out of the bed, which is exactly what the case was. But it was so great to see her and to know that things were going so well. One other thing from that day that was not fun, they were having to roll me over and give me 2 or 3 huge shots to prevent blood clots. I remember being told, this is going to be painful. These are not fun shots. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, and I was on so many pain meds. But it was painful. And I remember eventually looking at my arm and I'm like, oh my gosh, these are like big shots and they bruised up. So you get through that night and the next day you're still trying to relax and hydrate and maintain that pain, but you're trying to now start to get a little more mobile with the help of a care person ideally. You are met with a bunch of visitors. The nurse coordinator came in and she says, Stephen, these nurses are going to try to get you out of the hospital as soon as possible. They're trying to get you off the pain meds and get you out of here. Don't let them do that if you're not ready to go. If you're still in pain or you still want to be here longer, you text me, you call me, and I will come and we will work this out if you need to be here. The social worker came by. His priority was to check on you emotionally. I remember telling him that I learned that my sister was doing great and was tearing up and kind of choking up a bit as I was sharing it with him. And he was saying, think what you're going to say to people, and they're going to call you a hero, and think how you're going to react. And he was there just to kind of be encouraging. I also got visited by the surgeon with some of the surgical team. They came in and checked in on me, and he said things went great. They timed it pretty much perfectly. It might have been less or right around a minute, and he was out before she was able to receive it. He was looking for his breathing apparatus that had given me that first day, and it had disappeared on me. I had no idea where it was, so I wasn't thinking about it. He's looking around for it, and it's on a counter behind him. grabs it and he starts to scold the nurse and says, "This needs to be within arm's reach at all times, and you need to use this as much as possible." So keep that in mind. If they give that to you, it's a little apparatus where you try to breathe into it. You kind of play a game where it's got this little ball that goes up. You're trying to sustain it and get it up higher and higher. I think it's to try to get any fluids out of your lungs. It's just trying to exercise the lungs as much as possible. So be using that if you can. On the second day, also, I was visited by somebody from the legal department who wanted to check in on the advanced directives, make sure I had those. My care person wasn't there, so she had to go through my things to try to find my phone, so I think the number of my attorney. Another important visit was by a physical therapist who was waiting for my care person. I said, "Well, let me go ahead and show you how to get up and out of bed or couch." You're not going to be able to just do that. Again, they cut through your ab muscles, and it's going to go off for them to reach an ab. So you're not going to be able to just get up and down. There's a technique you're going to use. So she's demonstrating how you would roll and use your arm to push yourself up, and then how to kind of roll back into something. She's, "I want you to now do this." So it was the first time I was able to get out of bed the second day. She emphasized trying not to be in the bed the entire day. Try to walk around her room if you can, even to just sit in the recliner they had there. Limit the amount of time in your bed. You want to not be reliant on that bed. So she showed me how to do that. You are on solid foods. Start that day, and they give you a nice menu selection. They brought really nice food. Eat as much as you can. You're trying to start eating solids. In addition to still drinking lots of water. I remember the nurse coming back in and telling me they would have to reinsert that catheter because I had not produced any urine. So she brought in this machine to check my bladder, and it was too full. And she said, "I'm gonna give you an hour and we do this container. And if it doesn't have so much as the measuring marks, if it doesn't have so much urine in it, you have to reinsert the catheter." And I said, "Oh no, I will work on this." And so I did. I was able to produce enough. She came back and did not have to do that, fortunately. Another thing to be thinking of is that they insert a lot of gas in your system in order to do the surgery to blow yourself up so they can move around a bit. Then it will be throughout your body and moving around trying to find a way to escape. And so there might be things that you feel in sort of odd places in your body, and including the gas moving around. And there are medications that need to help reduce some of that pain. They keep the IV needles in case they have to reinsert something. But they had removed the pain medication IV bag and started putting on oral medications. And that night was pretty rough. I was in quite a bit of pain. I remember pushing the button to tell the nurse a few times that I'm in pain, I need something. They refused for quite a while and said it wasn't time yet, I was on the schedule. And her pushing again was saying, "I need something." I really should have gone ahead and called the nurse coordinator. It was late at night, I wasn't able to do that. Because I probably should have. And said, "Hey, I'm in pain." I've asked them multiple times. They're refusing to give me something. But they eventually came in and gave me some Tylenol, which really didn't do much. But eventually, the time was to where she could give me something stronger, and I was able to go to sleep and make it through that night. And it was a bit rough. That next day, I was ready to go. They, of course, wanted me to, and I felt like the pain was being managed. I was kind of walking around my room a little bit, and I had to do two things before I could get discharged. I had to be able to walk around the hospital wing, the hallway, and I had to be able to shower. These are things that your care person should really be there to help you do, and unfortunately he wasn't. Again, I still understood the assignment or something. We were waiting for him to help me walk around the hospital, and eventually they gave up and called in some physical therapist who walked me around. You're trying to do this with their support, but unaided as much as possible if you can. You're there in case you're gonna fall and stumble because you're weak, a little bit dizzy, you've got that binder on, you're holding your stomach, there's pain here, and you're kind of scooty, walking slowly. So they were there to just guide me and hold me a little bit. The care person wasn't there to help me shower, but the nurse said she would do it for me. And I said, "That's okay, I'll shower myself." She gives you a bottle of waterless soap, and it says, if you can't use the water to shower, you can at least use this. And I said, "I want to try to actually shower with water." You're really kind of dabbing yourself. You're not showering. I was able to shower, and then my care person came in right after and did help me put my clothes on. But then remember to bring with you, check in. Since I was dressed and ready to leave the hospital, sometime before you leave, they run more blood tests. And so in the room, they came in and I gave more blood to check all your levels again so they discharge you. Pack everything up and go to check out, sign some papers. It's kind of surreal. You're walking from the hospital thinking, I just gave a kidney. This is what I was there to do. It just sort of seems odd. So we walked slowly to the hotel and just rested that night, got something light to eat to leave the next morning. And checking out, it was difficult getting in the vehicle. Fortunately, a friend had lent us a mid-sized SUV, so it wasn't like a big step to get in, but it was something like a car you have to kind of sit down in. It was really nice, comfortable. Your care person helps you, and you want to have pillows all around you, 2 or 3 pillows, and help slowly get into that car to take you where you're going to go. I was going to be staying at my sister's house in Georgia. It was about a 2-hour drive. So 2 hours driving, having just donated a kidney a couple days ago. But fortunately, it was a smooth drive for the most part. There were a few bumps where you're like, they do send you home with lots of medications. You're gonna have a bag of all these medicines, mainly pain meds and for gas, and trying to help you be able to produce a discharge. But I'll talk more about that in my next video in terms of what the recovery was like before you go for your post-op recovery appointment. You have to come back in 2 weeks and check on you, run some weird tests and do some more blood work. But congratulations, and at this point you've made it. You've done what you set out to do, and hopefully everything's worked out wonderful, and your recovery at home will be speedy, and you'll be really happy that you've done this. And I hope you've enjoyed this content, and I want to invite you to add comments below and join in on the conversation. I'd love to engage with you in that. Also, if you know anybody who is going through this process or even just thinking about it, I think you'll share with them these videos. And if you've gone through that yourself, I hope you're inspired maybe to create your own content and get out there information about what it's like. Again, I thank you. I hope this has been of help to you.